Hi, I'm Katie with Joyful Forklift, and this is Jim and Cherri. Cherri died 4 months to the day after we recorded this interview. It happened suddenly after a planned surgery. And this was devastating for my friend Jim, who is left to catalog 45 years of a beautiful marriage and work through unexpected grief. I feel that this makes Cherri's words in this interview all the more precious and all the more powerful. And I wanted to share this with you so that you might feel that too. I'm so grateful that I had the chance to listen to Cherri offer up her wisdom on joy while she was still with us. I see this as a sacred gift from her. And Jim, thank you for giving us permission to put this out there while you are still deep in your grief process. I think you've made an incredibly courageous choice. With humility and massive gratitude, here is Jim and Cherri. Hi, Cherri and Jim. So good to be with you today. Thank you for taking the time out of your life to talk to me. I am going to start this interview with a question I ask everybody because it's what I'm curious about. And I suspect you have some interesting answers here. So the question is, in your opinion, what is joy?
I'll say a few things.
Okay.
Because for me, truly, joy has nothing to do with circumstances. It's not happiness with what you're doing or where you are. It's an intangible. It is that Paul in prison thing. He's writing, he's in prison, he doesn't have good food, he doesn't have warm clothes, he doesn't have things he's been writing and preaching his whole life. He doesn't have things to write with. But yet he counts it all joy. It is a deeper trust, it's a deeper spiritual, it's a deeper purpose than just, do I have the things around me that make me happy? I have a lot of things around me that make me happy. We just had the hardwood floors done. We just got new appliances, which we've wanted to do since we moved here.
Paul did not have appliances.
And no, he did not. And they make me happy.
Yeah.
They make me happy. I'm glad. I feel glad about it. But that's very different than peace. Joy is peace.
How do you suspect we cultivate it? Is it something we realize we have when we're young, or is it how do you know that it's
I had
peace?
to study it. I have to study. And truly it is about reading the Paul in prison and how do you see a purpose and something deeper and something more meaningful, because joy has to do with meaning. What I'm doing has meaning. And so I think you have to, I had to learn it. Because I think I would have stayed with, am I happy? Am I happy? Even though, and this might be an aside, but even though I grew up in Kansas with a tough group of women, I can remember as a little girl watching my grandma and the aunts talk about somebody, and one of the women said, well, she's not happy. And my grandma whipped her head around and said, who cares if she's happy? Get going. You got things to do. So I grew up thinking, who cares if you're happy? Just get going, keep working. Yeah. So I had to learn how to be different than just working and being. I had to learn how to process more peace and more internal meaning.
Yeah. So you were raised and what was modeled to you was not necessarily.
Well, it was work.
It was work.
It was work. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's still my motto.
Yeah.
You go. You go.
Well, I agree with Cherri with what Paul says. He's in prison. He's being treated horribly. Paul was shipwrecked. He was beaten. All kinds of things happened to him that an everyday person, even a special person, wouldn't tolerate that. They would have done something, reacted differently than he did. And the thing about Paul, and then James writes it in the book of James, all these things that we go through that are difficult, They're just not accidentally there. If you're a believer, if you're a Christian, you can go, there's a higher authority here. There's someone who's not necessarily orchestrating things, but is allowing these things to come in front of me. And then James talks about he keeps presenting them to you to make you grow. And when finally people understand that I've made this growth period, when that whatever it is comes at me, I just go, I'm just going to go through this. It's not happy, like Cherri said. And Paul will say it's the joy in the Lord that's allowing this to happen to me. And nothing can happen to me that he does not permit. So if it's really ugly, if it's an accident and you lose a spouse or you lose a child, that sounds horrible that God would let that happen to you.
Yeah.
But he does. And he has his purposes for that. And so I'm not saying blindly I'm so happy because of Jesus. I'm happy because I have someone who has my best interest in their mind and in their interest for me.
So it sounds like an awareness of trust and
that's a great word.
An awareness of peace that is the foundation under all of the things that happen for you, even if they're incredibly painful.
Yeah.
But that's not all there is. Would you say that joy is mostly for you a source of relation, or it comes from the source of a relationship with God, or is it?
Yes.
It does that also? How does that play in with other people and relationships?
I think if you have a presence of mind, I mean, what we do as human beings, especially in this westernized culture, is we find it very easy to be critical. We find it very easy to tear people down. We hear it all the time. Post-analysis on football games.
It is the worst.
They're armchair quarterbacking and telling everybody what went wrong. And a lot of times it's good information because they're right. But what they don't know and what the viewer doesn't know is what was happening to the quarterback on the field at that time, what he saw, all that kind of stuff that's going on. We can't know that reality for that person. But what's difficult about this, and it's the perspective of joy, is how can I use my words to harm you, or how can I use my words to heal you or to help you? So those would be words of encouragement. And the question that we have to ask ourselves, are the words that I'm using harming or helping people? And for me, and I know for Cherri, we don't want to harm people. It's not our nature. It's especially not our nature after being Christians for 50 plus years. God created us for his glory. Very selfish God, but
Kind of comes off that way.
He did it for him.
Yeah.
And so he's also created us to love him and enjoy him forever. So if you have that, and I'm not, it's easy to do. It's easy to see this before being a believer, going, well, that's just a selfish God. And I got all kinds of idols that are selfish. They take from me all the time. He doesn't take anything from us.
So the words of encouragement, the choice to lift people up, comes from perhaps that source of joy. That maybe by doing that, you can awaken that trust and that peace in somebody else.
I don't know. I'd have to think more about it, because when I think of relationships and joy, I think I enjoy. It's a different joy.
I see.
I enjoy. I mean, I'm with different people every day.
I know you are.
I do a lot of different groups, and I enjoy it. I don't want to have that taken away.
Yeah. So it's pleasurable for you.
It is very, for lots of different reasons. But I'm not sure that I would say they bring me joy, but I definitely don't want them to go away, and I enjoy them.
Do you, and just one last question about this, because I think it's an interesting dichotomy here between the joy from the source of God that you holds so deep in your heart, and then the joy of relationships. It sounds like they're a little different for you. And what is the role of relationships in our human lives and maybe in our spiritual lives?
It sounds different between him and me.
No, just not
okay.
necessarily. Just
okay.
It sounds like your first answer was super grounded in your spirituality, and so I'm curious how you view relationships between human beings, spiritual beings, within that context. Is it different?
No,
you know?
well, it sounds like it is, but it really isn't. When the way that I think about it is, because we were created by God for a relationship with him, not because he needed it, because he wanted it. He wanted a relationship with his creatures that he could commune with. So it's natural in the spiritual sense, and I don't like to divide those two worlds, but it's natural for me to have a relationship with you that's good, and with Mike that's good, and with Cherri, and with the people that I deal with. It's good because we were created to be in relationship with other people. And if I build a really good relationship through other folks, and I encourage them, and I say words that help them and heal them, and say, how can I help you? What's going on in your life? And you dump on me with something really rough. And then I just go, in my head, I say, well, what can I do?
Yeah.
You know, and I'll think about it for a while, and I may come back to you and say, you know what, here's what I've been doing. I've been praying. I've been thinking about you. I've been structuring my conversations with you that are encouraging to you and not hurtful.
Yeah.
Is there more that I can do than just that? I mean, can I come do something at your house?
Yeah.
Those kinds of things.
Yeah.
And so I'm in relationship, and I'm constantly moving towards building you up, making you better who are, just like God's in relationship with us. And he lets all this stuff happen to us. Why? Because he wants to build us up and grow.
So that's a really beautiful framing. It sounds like our natural state, because of the way we're created, is to be in relationship, and it is in a goodness. So the things that are difficult, our suffering or harm that comes to us from other people might come from an unnatural or a confused state outside of that source of God, perhaps. Does that sound right? Yeah.
Because that's, I mean, that's standard human nature.
Yeah.
I'm in this for me, not you.
Yeah, that is, I know. Totally. Anything else you want to add? Any other thoughts about that? Oh, thank you. So speaking of relationships, it is a blessing for me to, especially since I'm married, to be able to talk to people who've been married for a long time and learn about your relationship with each other, how that has served you, how you do it, how, I don't know, what you enjoy together, how you have learned to live in community with each other for so long. And I imagine that is not hardship free or suffering free, or whatever your path is might take a right turn. How do you navigate that together? And anything pop up for you?
We've had lots of different seasons because we were in college. We got married. Jim had already been in college for a year. 2 years when we got married at 28. Because he had been in Vietnam and I had always wanted to go to college but couldn't afford it. So we got married at 28, and I had 1 year of college way back when, and we went 9 years straight through. Fall, spring, summer, fall, spring, summer, fall, spring, summer for 9 years.
Oh my gosh.
So that was the way we started. Wow. So that was pretty intense because we were people our age were buying houses and cars, and we were living in mobile homes with cracks in the walls. And we were living like 18-year-olds,
Yeah.
So
like
that was a struggle that we started out pretty hard, and then we're in college for a long time. But then, once we got done, we were hired immediately at a university. We started teaching, and things just rolled into a whole different place. And then over the years, and then we retired in 2018, bought a fifth wheel and traveled around and did a lot of really cool things. And that was a great season. And then this new season, I almost died in 21. And that has brought a whole different place for us to be. Because my limitations, I have lots, because they thought I was going to die, they did, of COVID, they did all of the things to try to save me, which also killed most people. Like my medical doctor, after got out of the hospital, said, when am I going to get better? She goes, I don't know. No one like you lived. So I really did. I mean, God saved me for whatever reasons, and I am very grateful. But I have lots of side effects. And that has been a whole new season of trying to figure out and how to navigate. Because I have run circles around people in my life, just with the amount of work I could do. And now I can't get from the table over to that chair without help. So that just is a big bummer. Yeah. That's why joy is such a deeper thing than happiness, because I am not happy with the way I am. Yeah. But I mean, I'm not upset about it either. I mean, I don't.
You wouldn't choose it.
I wouldn't choose it, and I wished I didn't have it.
Yeah, of course.
But I don't spend any time in a day saying, I don't want to be like this. It just is. Yeah. I just go with it. But it definitely is a bummer for where we would like to be.
Of course.
Yeah. I mean, we are free. We have a little bit of money. We're free in time, and we would like to do a lot of things, and it's just not in the cards. Yeah. Anyway, so I would say, the other thing I would say about relationships really quick, and besides Jim and me, Jim really loves being with people.
I know.
And he needs it. And I need it. I mean, he could go somewhere and be with people every day and I'd be happy.
You need him to be with people.
Oh, yeah. I need him to be with people.
She doesn't need people.
I don't need him all the time.
That is brutally honest. How long did it take you to get to that acceptance where you realized how different you were?
I knew it immediately.
Did you?
Yeah,
when you first met
immediately.
him?
We got married and started school. So I lived in Denver, and he was in school in Iowa. So and his family was in Denver. So we met and married in Denver. And we got into the U-Haul to go to the ratty trailer in the college town.
Your first romantic home.
That was married student housing. And he had his nephew come with us. Why not?
He belongs here.
What could go wrong? And so I knew immediately
what you were getting into.
This is totally. I had lived alone for several years in an apartment in Denver, and Jim talks in his sleep because there's not enough time in the day to say. I was just a panic in the middle of the night as he'd be talking to his brother, and I'm like, "Who's here?"
Oh my gosh.
Anyway, so the energy level is huge for him. The relationship level is huge for him. I knew it immediately, but haven't always been wise in navigating it.
Well, it's so different than your resting state, so it has to be challenging.
I need a lone state, and it's not necessarily that I'm resting. When he's gone, like last Sunday, when he's gone, I had 2 full pages of things I was doing. Yeah. I've got doings.
Yeah.
And I enjoy doing them without him here. I enjoy it. You're not upset. You're not upset of it.
No, not at all.
Because I know. I figured it out.
I know. Well, I want to hear your perspective on all of this, but I'm also curious about when you met, did you have a strong sense of self or authenticity or honesty, because these challenges are only navigated when you are honest about who you are and who you're not, you know? And I think that is pretty rare. And I think that's rare early. You were young, relatively speaking.
Well, 28, so we were.
Yeah, but I know a lot of 28-year-olds who behave like 16-year-olds.
Yeah.
So, but you had that. How, is that something you had to develop? Was this force in the crucible of your marriage, or was this just who you were?
I think it helped that we were in college for so long, because we also not only were in college, but we always had part-time jobs.
Oh, you were working.
So when we got to Mississippi State, we each had 4 part-time jobs as well as being full-time.
Are you kidding me?
We gave the national tests on Saturday. We were private tutors we taught at Votex, and we had internships or assistantships at the university. So we did 4 different things every week, several times a week, as well as being full-time students. So really, we had things on a shelf for a long time. We were busy.
Yeah.
And distracted.
Yeah, kidding.
Yeah, the conflicts that we've had in our marriage haven't been internal. They've been external. Like, for example, in the PhD program we were in, they told us after we graduated that there'd never been a married couple that came in that made it through the entire program.
Oh my gosh.
They either divorced, one quit, or the other quit, and they just quit doing it altogether. And her, I don't know who he was, Wellington asks her, "Why do you think you made it?" She says, "We're not competing. We're not competing with each other." I couldn't compete with her. She's a straight A student.
I can see that.
Me, I'm a struggling, can I get a B+ today, But anyway, so that would be the external things. In every situation, in every job that we have external things that hit us. Or we'll have something physical that'll hit us. I mean, I ended up with atrial fibrillation. It was a cause of Vietnam and all that kind of stuff. And that affected me for like 7 or 8 years. And the last 2 or 3 years, I couldn't walk from here to the door without having to sit down. Because I didn't have any capacity. Anyway, that was repaired and taken care of. Have not had any since. But that external thing was completely debilitating for me. And Cherri, being the compassionate, mercy, grace woman that she is, filled in all the stuff that I couldn't do. It was unbelievable what happened. And then, so that's been the thing. Why we haven't gotten into it. We're committed to each other. We're committed to the relationship. We were at 28 years old knowing that there's going to be stuff going on. And we were past that. We were post-newlyweds in maturity. I did 4 years in Vietnam. She did a lot of years doing all kinds of stuff just to make a go. And we had run into all kinds of things that were just nailing us.
Yeah, no kidding.
And so we dealt with that. But we had this commonality, I think.
That it was just always going to be together.
Well, and plus we did make a commitment, and that wasn't just, that was, I can remember I worked with a woman that husband was just cheating on her and and I'm like, how do you stay together? And she says, God has not released me.
Wow.
And that was a moment to me of just like, yeah, God doesn't release you when you make covenants, and you release yourself. And then, of course there's consequences for everything. And I don't want to get into that. I'm just saying that there was also a sense of, we're not going to just
walk away
just
from
walk
this.
away.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sounded like you had a strong investment in each other's lives too. So when it's something as serious as a long-term illness or near-death experience come up, there's no question like, should I do this?
Yeah.
You do it.
Yeah.
And there's the happiness again. Am I happy? No.
So you're very honest about that.
There's lots of times we would have said, are you happy? No.
Yeah.
No.
No, I'm not happy at all.
But
I
what does
hate
that
this.
have to do with anything? There's my grandma, but what does that have to do with anything?
Yeah.
Get going on what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
Keep in sight what you're supposed to be doing, and shut up, basically.
When I was it was the last part of our doctoral program. We were both out of classes. She had she had graduated, and I had one more year left. So I don't know where I was, but I got MS.
Oh my gosh.
I was diagnosed with MS.
We had just been in New Orleans for a conference, and the doctors thought you had been bitten by a poisonous spider.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
With his symptoms, but
Then we went up. We were in Springfield, Missouri, and I had an MRI scan, and the doc said, "I knew you had MS when you came in from what you told me, but you have bilateral scarring on both sides of your brain," because I was numb from here all the way to toes.
Oh my gosh.
And I said, "Well, what's the prognosis?" He says, "You got MS. That's the prognosis." So that was a very devastating blow, and we went back to school, and I had to do writtens. And so that was a day and a half of writtens. Written questions about
everything that you've had in
school.
Oh,
So
the final hurdle of getting the degree.
So you had to like really push through
these were
physically.
numb.
Oh,
So they let me have a computer, and so I was typing, did all that. And it was pretty lousy, but I was banging it out to get it done. So I got it done and came back past everything except for neuropsychology or something. I can't remember what it was. And so my problem was also I was the same age as my professors.
that's awkward.
And I'd done Vietnam and I'd played that game.
Yeah.
So this guy had really banged me really, really hard. So I called him up and said, "I'd like to talk to you." Because you had to get an 8. There were 10 points. It might be 20 pages long, but there was only 10
10
points.
points. Oh my gosh. That's high stakes.
So he says, because he says, "I don't know who this person is, but they can't write, they can't type. This is horrible, all the mistakes that they've made." And so I walked over to him and very cordially said, "I'm the student that can't write, type, or whatever else you said." And I said, "A couple things that you need to be aware of, doctor," whatever his name was. "I have MS. You know I have MS, and you know dang well who was writing that stuff. And you know that I had to type it. These are numb. Now, I can bring the ADA in on this and nail you to the cross. But I'm looking for you to reevaluate this for me now." Wow. So anyway, we talked a little bit more about it, and he didn't like what it was, and he didn't like that I was so firm with him. He said, "You're insolent." And I said, "Yeah, how old are you?" "Oh, so am I." "Did you go to Vietnam?" "No." "I did." "Yeah, I did that for you."
Well,
I was being snotty, but anyway.
I'm like, I would be devastated if you came to me and told me that. That's incredibly brave, but so honest.
2-3 days later, it went from like a 6 to a 9.
Yeah, it did.
Because he said, and he wrote on it, he said, "I apologize, understand what you're talking about. In essence, this is an excellent paper. I was picking on you for la 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 la."
Wow.
For the mechanics of it rather than the meaning.
Content
Understood.
of what I had written.
Yeah.
That was probably hard for him to be vulnerable and admit he was wrong.
But in the 80s, you had to have been there. The ADA, people really didn't understand disabilities. They're like, they really didn't. There was a lot of, with learning disabilities, they just need to try harder. They need to take more homework. Things have really progressed big time.
Well, and you were a part of that, right? You educated him.
Well, unfortunately for him, I had like 6 hours in handicap training to work with kids that were handicapped, how to evaluate them, where do we need to place them, how do we put them in these different categories. And so I was completely unfair unload on him because he was in neurobiology, psychology, and I was, all over the place as a general practitioner in psychology. So
wow.
but anyway, it was a win-win.
That's incredible.
But so to finish the MS story, done, gone, don't have it. We ran into a gal we knew in Denver coming out of church one day, and she wanted to know some things, and she was in charge of the MS clinic at Swedish Hospital in
Really?
Denver. Yeah. And so I told her the story, and she said, "Well, there's 3 ways you can look at this. You didn't have it. It's a misdiagnosis, or God healed you. Number 3, That's what I
I'll
say.
take that.
I'll take that.
Well, because after the doctor's visit, when they said, he went into the scanning where he said, yeah, you have MS. His brother had the pastor, the elders, everybody in his Assembly of God church all gather around Jim, and they
Prayed up a storm.
Prayed up a big storm. An Assembly of God kind of storm.
It is a storm.
It was a storm.
And truly, even though he had the symptoms for a while later, a couple of years later, when we ran into the MS doctor, she said, well, you don't have it.
It just went away.
Yeah.
Wow.
She said, and whatever it was, I may still have the bilateral scan, or he read the wrong reading. Who knows?
Oh, my God.
Because this is just when MRIs came out,
Right.
too. But anyway, so however it was a blessing.
Wow.
But that was a real knock because we'd been in college for 9 years. It was at the very end of the 9th year. And my grandmother was the first Kansas MS person.
Really?
Diagnosed.
They thought she had brain tumors. They didn't know about MS, but this little country doctor had been trained at the University of Chicago, and he was a researcher, and he saw MS and said, let's send you to Menninger's in Topeka, and they diagnosed her with MS. She was in a wheelchair her entire adult life. Jim had an uncle, 30-something years old.
He died from it.
And he died. He was
In
diagnosed
30
with...
days from diagnosis.
He was diagnosed with MS and he died. So in our minds, Jim gets MS. We're sitting there. I have my grandmother in a wheelchair her whole life. He has an uncle who died. And we're like, what in the world was all of this for?
After all that work.
After all that work. So, this is the coping skills. And we had early in our lives smoked and had quit. We left that doctor's office and I'm like, stop at 7-Eleven.
Are you serious? Time to get the cigarettes.
And that's the first thing. My brother said, what are you doing? I said, oh man, these are making me sick. And he goes, what are you doing? And I'm like, I want to feel sick. Yeah. At least I am not going to be destroyed with this news.
Yeah.
But there you are. So much for that problem. It wasn't gonna be our problem.
No. It's interesting. It feels like the many hurdles and obstacles you have had to overcome have created a really profound empathy for other people. You know, because that's not always something
that's not always
people
the case.
do. When they go through something, then their eyes are open to what you might be going through, what I might be going through. And I think I wonder if that's just your personality or your experiences working with kids or psychology or what.
I think it's all of it. I think it's all of it, but it also is people that go into psychology are always looking for their own solutions.
Yes, I was one of them.
Yes, we've known hundreds, if not thousands, of psych majors, and people want to try to figure out why and what and how to change and how do you change somebody else.
Yeah.
And, that's just a natural thing. But one of the things I'll just mention about compassion to other people. In community Bible study, I'm a leader in community Bible study, and yesterday we're studying this book on Psalm 23. It's Philip Keller's A Shepherd Looks at Psalm 23. So it's The Lord is my shepherd is a chapter. I shall not want is a chapter. And yesterday one of the chapters is, even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death. And that chapter is often used in funerals.
Yep.
Because you're looking at death. But that's not the meaning of that phrase. The meaning is really about being in a valley. Valleys are dark. When you're up on the mountain, when you're up on the prairie, it's light. When you're down in a valley, it's a dark place. And so Philip Keller, who was a shepherd in his early life, and then a theologian, talks about how dangerous valleys are, how you have to lead the sheep because you're leading them down so they can rocks, and then there's predators down there because there's water down there. And so there can be wolves and coyotes and any kind of thing, so you've got your things to protect them, but you're walking with them There's other sheep down there. They're walking with each other. And so just the beautiful symbolism and ways of visualizing valleys don't have to be alone. They can be dark. They can be dangerous. But if you have people with courage that will walk with you, and then you have a shepherd, because of course this metaphor is a shepherd, or David is a shepherd, but it's Christ as a shepherd and guiding you to hear, don't step in this and get out. Let's get out of this valley when we can. And anyway, so it's a beautiful picture of walking with each other in valleys.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because the valley, it is the valley of death. You and I go through stuff every day. And sometimes it's a great day, no problem. Sometimes it's a sad day, it's a bad day, whatever it is. And when you think about it, having to deal with this without a source, the shepherd, to guide you, and you got to do this all on your own. And you have no idea the outcome. When you have a shepherd, there's going to be an outcome either way. But at least if it's a bad outcome, you're with him. For the one person walking through without the shepherd, they only got them.
When I was in isolation intensive care for 5 days, because that's the thing with COVID. And in 21, it was isolation, because they had to have the suits on. So nobody came in unless they had to. There was no TV, no radio, nobody talked to me, no phones. I was in there by myself. Luckily for me, and I mean this luckily, I was intubated for 5 days. So I was mostly unconscious because I was in one of those chairs where they flipped me upside down. And so I was strapped down, fully strapped down for 5 days. So I only had my head to keep me interested in trying to stay alive. And Psalm 23, I had memorized that way early in my life, but it kept coming to me as okay, God, so I am in the valley of the shadow of death and I could die. They think I'm going to die. I know they think I'm going to die. I know they told Jim that I was going to die. So it's up to you to decide if I do or not. And I really was okay whichever way he decided. I'm not okay today. I don't want to die today. But then I was okay with whichever way he decided. But I kept reciting that as well as in my mind doing some disco and doing some...
Well, she's intubated and she's singing. And they're telling me that she's hallucinating.
Because I'm singing out loud because I want to hear something. So I'm singing, I'm singing Great Is Thy Faithfulness. I'm singing Beach Boys. I'm singing some Donna Summers. I'm singing whatever I can think of that will keep me going. Yes. Am I still alive? Am I still alive? Because that's what I was doing. Am I still alive?
Oh my gosh.
Anyway, all that to say, Psalm 23 was the valley of the shadow of death in a big way. But we could die. Nobody gets out of this alive. We're all going to die. We can die anytime from anything. So we're always in a valley of the shadow of death, but we're not always in a valley. Yeah. But the reality is everybody goes in valleys. And I think it's truly the courageous that decide, because most people can't struggle with you. They don't. They want it to be, but you're okay now, aren't you?
They want to fix it. Turn it off. Yeah.
I mean, you're okay now. Sure, fine. I'm okay now.
Just to make you happy.
Yeah.
To make you happy, I'll be fine. But anyway, I think it's courageous to realize the reality of valleys and the reality of being sheep with other sheep who are in a valley. Sheep are not loners. If you look at them in the field, I mean, they're mostly touching each other. They're not there's only a couple of them that are far away from anybody.
And those are probably guys.
They're probably me. They're probably me.
Guys, they're probably me.
No, me.
Oh, no. I need to be away from this table.
I need alone time. Bye, everybody.
Oh my gosh, there's too many sheep here.
Yeah.
Cherri, Thank you for sharing that. That is such a powerful
Well,
experience.
it was a huge, it was out of nowhere. I had no side effects that would show I was going to be one that would die of COVID. I had no medical anything. And I'll tell you one real quick thing, too, because it has affected the way I live. Jim and I in Denver had lots of people that we knew. I mean, I worked at the university same place for 26 years. We had lots of people. We went to church. I mean, lots of people we knew. But we had two couples that were really good friends. One couple, Lee and Sharon, were friends from school. They worked at CCU. Sharon was in accounting, and I'd worked with her for over 20 years. And we did all of the basketball games. We did, so we did the CCU things together. And then we ate with them almost every week somewhere. Somewhere. We just meet them somewhere and we just eat. So it wasn't a big deal, but we just ate. Then we had Nancy and Jerry, who Jim worked with at Promise Keepers, with Jerry at Promise Keepers, and we had known them for almost 25 years. Yeah. At this point, we've known them over 30 years, but over 25 years from church, and then we were at their house or they were at our house almost every week. Wow. So those two couples we did everything with. Thanksgiving Day of 2020, Lee and Sharon had one daughter who was a nurse, and she got a big job in Kalispell, Montana, and called them and said, Mom, Dad, you got to come up here and look. This is the Colorado you always told me about. They went up there. This is before Thanksgiving. They went, we want to live here. They came back to Denver. They put their house on the market, sold it immediately. On Thanksgiving Day, they left Denver and went to Kalispell. Wow. When they got to Kalispell, they all tested positive for COVID. Sarah, the daughter, had no symptoms, even though she tested positive. Her husband lost smell and taste. Lee, the husband, coughed a lot. Sharon went into intensive care and died. 3 weeks later, never lived in her home. Never. And the daughter who wanted them to come probably still wishes she wouldn't have had them come. Had nothing to do with going there, but it just happened. And Sharon died 3 weeks after they got there. So then I come here. We're looking for real estate here for the last year. I come here the end of April, and by myself, because Jim had already come and put bids on 2 other houses. We lost the bids, and he's like, I'm done. And so I'm going to come and I'm going to see. I stayed here for a week, and when I got back to Denver, I had COVID and ended up in isolation, intensive care, almost died, didn't. And then our realtor called us in August and said, your house came on the market 8 minutes ago. I've made an appointment. I'm going to go in with my phone and you need to buy it. And so she came over here. This was the house with her phone. And I said, man, she says, oh, you guys, this is it for you. And Jim said, well, I can be there tomorrow. And she says, if anyone else looks at this house, they're going to overbid you. This is at your max. So Jim said, okay, we'll do it. So within 30 minutes, we owned this house. I'd never seen it.
Oh my gosh.
So he came up the next day. For the inspection and stuff. But I didn't see it until the end of September when we had closed at the bank, and then the movers were out in the driveway, and they said, where are you going to want everything? And I said, I've never been inside. And they said, no way.
Oh,
of course,
gosh.
Anyway, 3 weeks later, Jerry and Nancy had lived here already for 2 years, and Jerry's every week is going, hey, Jimmy, what do you think of this house? Hey, Jimmy, what do you think of this house? Hey, Jimmy, what do you think of this house? 3 weeks later, he died of COVID.
Oh my God, you guys.
Yeah.
I can't get over it. I can't get over the 2 couples that were our 20-some year people, and everybody had a spouse that died. Jerry was Jim's best friend, and here we were, moved here for all of the things that we're going to do. I'm sick. I'm still really sick. And Jerry died. So that was a big valley.
Yeah, it was a big valley.
That was a big valley because that was just, I don't know what the plan is with that. That doesn't seem fair. That does not seem fair. Anyway, I just say that to say some of our valleys really have been more about other people than they've been about us.
Yeah.
Because there's been people we have really loved that have had things that we've been in a valley because of our
Because of them,
Because you
and
love
there's no
them.
answer. I mean, there's no answer. Those valleys were death.
Yeah.
Those valleys were death. They didn't come out of it. We weren't able to walk with them and walk out of it and all of that.
Yeah.
But we did with their spouses.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we did with their spouses.
I mean, it's sort of true. You were with them.
Yeah.
With that community. Yeah. Wow.
Anyway.
Well, I think I think there is a relationship between finding that resource, that eternal, endless resource of joy that I think we all have, and accepting or thinking about death, like having a realistic understand. Do you agree? What do you think? How do you think about death? Since you've had so many, oh my gosh, more experiences I think than most, especially being in the Vietnam War and seeing so many people die in a senseless way with COVID. Like, do you carry the idea of death with you daily? You know, how do you think about it? I don't
think about it hardly at all because everybody dies. There's an end date. One of the benefits I had when I moved here was meeting Jean Fleming, who's written a book on living the purpose of life, and living on purpose. And her thing was, don't let me be an angry old woman. Don't let me be a bitter old woman. Teach me to number my days and use my days wisely, because everybody will die and you could have wasted it. Yeah. And so I was very fortunate that right off the bat, I did a study with her book, made a study guide for it and invited women in, and we talked about the book. And that was really helpful for me.
And Navigators ended up publishing the book with her questions.
Yeah, they did. That was
their study guide.
That was very sweet.
Yeah, Sherry, nice.
Yeah, that was very sweet. Anyway, that was helpful. Is the reality is we all have a shelf life. And we don't know. Some people get more time than others. And some people don't get to their teenage years. Yeah. I mean, it's not known to us. And so to be intentional and purposeful and to find meaning and your purpose is very serious. And to not just, Jean would say, not to just fritter it away, because days can just go by and you've done nothing, you've thought nothing. You've thought nothing.
She's 83 and still doing ministry.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, she is.
She invites all kinds of young women to her house. And then she gets to know a couple of them. And then she'll go and have coffee and do one-on-ones with them.
Wow. She'll mentor them. But now she's in a retirement place, not an assisted living, but a big condo in Colorado Springs, 300 apartments, big. Okay. And she makes cookies and goes down to the main room and sits there with her cookies, and who wants to talk?
And she talks.
Yeah.
And it's not, how you doing? That's good. That's what, no, it's
stuff.
meaningful stuff.
Yeah.
Even if she's just making a good friend. Her goal is, what God gave me, I'm going to pour into you. If you accept it, glory to God. If you don't, I've done what I'm supposed to do. Now I'm going to move on. Wow.
What I admire about Jean, I admire a lot of things about Jean, but she's a Navigators her whole life and with her husband. And she's an international speaker and writer. She's written several books, an international speaker. But I don't know if it was 10 years ago or whenever she got some kind of a brain thing and cannot write. She writes with holding both hands on a pencil and could not write a book. And her speech is very... When she leaves me a voicemail and AI tries to... record it. It is nothing I can even use hardly. Wow. No words. So here this international speaker and writer can't speak and write. Now tell me if that's fair.
That's a valley.
She has lived her whole life in ministry. So why? What? Anyway, she doesn't spend 1 minute on that.
Wow.
She just says, but I can bake cookies and go down and talk to those people.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, honestly, that is the thing. That's the hero. That's the role model of how to end well.
How to wrap it up.
How to end well, because truly, aging is not for the weak. There's some tough things.
It's not for sissies. Yeah.
It's hard. There's a lot of limitations that you couldn't ever even imagined.
Oh.
But you have the heroes like her that show you, let's finish well. Let's finish well.
That's gold.
Yeah.
Right there. I wonder, and Jim, I'm curious about your perspective on this. If part of the challenge in our culture is that our culture sells a lie that we will never die.
Yeah.
That if you do things to your body or behave in certain ways, that there is an eternal youth promised to you and a lack of acceptance, as you have obviously done, that our days are numbered, we have a shelf life, and then we end up frittering away time or not seeing, the beauty and the gift of the day that we have currently. I'm just curious, what is your perspective on the fallacy of our culture and its obsession with youth? And
I think, it's easy. We're obsessed with self. And to preserve that best self of me, it might be in my youth, it could be in my 20s, whatever it is, when I was an athlete, whatever. And so we continue to pursue it, and it's you're chasing a dog that you can never catch. And it gets frustrating at the end, and it gets frustrating while you're doing it. And so that by itself, pursuing that and focusing on that is kind of self-destructive. And then when you get frustrated, then you do self-destructive things. So you end up in, you're having affairs, you're doing drugs, you're doing booze all the time. You're doing something. I mean, you might be acquiring things in the house. There's not a surface that you could put anything on because you've bought. And the garage is full and the cars are outside. And then now we have to go get a storage room. I mean, that's kind of self-destructive behavior because there's what they call the tyranny of ownership. And if I own my life, there's a tyranny involved in it. If I own a lot of stuff, if I have a cabin, if I have a boat, if I have a skidoo or whatever it is, I got to maintain all that stuff. And it's tyranny unless you just love doing all that all the time. But you got to do it.
yeah,
Otherwise, you can't do it. If you ignore your snowmobile for a couple of years, it's not going to run.
yeah,
And the lousy rubber seals and all that, they've corroded, and you fire it up, you get in the middle of the table mace, and now she's dead, and you're like 12 miles away from anywhere.
Has this happened
With
to you
deep
before?
snow. No, but I've been in Steamboat, I ran into that a couple
oh
of
my
times.
gosh, that's really interesting. It's like, are you saying like the having things or trying to control things through stuff where preservation is a self-destructive addiction or process?
I think it is because it's a tyranny. I'm stuck with this, and so...
So how do you free yourself from that desire that's sold to us like every single day of our lives? You need this to be happy.
You deserve
You
this.
deserve
Yeah, I
this.
deserve it.
You've earned it.
Well, in Psalms, it talks about, David writes, "This whole piece of you deserve nothing but the wrath of God." That's what you deserve. What you get is my grace and my mercy to allow you to continue living that kind of lifestyle. And there's a choice that you're going to have to come to at some point in your life. What am I going to do with what I have? And the majority of people just go, I'm just going to continue to do it because it's familiar. I want to do it. I don't want to sacrifice my happiness for this maybe promised eternal joy. No, I don't want to do that. Well, when you finally make that decision, you go, it's not promised. It is promised, and it's not a maybe, it's a fact. And, that's not something that you come to on your own conclusion. At the point of which you make that decision, you have this security sense that you never had before. And And that it's not a feeling necessary, but I'll express it that way. It's a come and go kind of thing, but it's they always say the line is solid. It's you doing the wandering. Yes.
That's a good quote.
So that I think that's has a significant portion of it.
Yeah.
We were lucky. Jim's parents were older. They were 40 when they had him.
Oh,
so
wow.
They were older. They died. His mom died in 96 and his dad died in 99. So we were still youngish when they died.
Mm-hmm.
But one thing that helped me with stuff was when Sam died, the dad died, every single thing they owned in the condo came to our garage. Every single thing they owned was in that 2-car garage, and we could have set it out on, it had what meaning did it have? And I went, as a daughter-in-law, I'm sitting here with everything the family had collected there. They had been married 60 years. The year before she died was their 60th wedding anniversary. That's how little meaning anything has.
It's whittled down, yeah.
That was huge to me to just see it, is that all the boxes, all the clothes, all the dishes, all of the collectibles.
That are no longer collectibles.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so stuff, and that you have to have a certain amount of stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, just to we've always been big entertainers. All family things were at our house. So we had a lot of dishes and a lot of, we made a lot of bread, like we told you earlier. A lot of food. We were always having people. But there's a certain amount of stuff that, like Jim says, the tyranny of ownership. You don't just have the stuff then, it has you.
Yeah.
You're taking care of it. You're dusting it. You're moving it from place to place. It doesn't have a meaning. Mm-hmm. If the stuff doesn't have a meaning, then it needs to just...
Yeah, what is its purpose?
Yeah.
Yes.
What purpose does it serve?
Because it's sitting in the garage or a storage house, and you haven't looked at it in 5 years.
Yeah.
If you haven't looked at it in 5, I've got crap out there that I haven't looked at in
We all do.
4 years.
4
Only
years.
4.
4. We've only been here 4. But I don't even need to go look at it. This is what I tell myself in my logical way: throw it away.
Yeah.
I haven't missed it in 4. I'm not going to miss it in the next 4.
Totally.
But can't get rid of it. And I might.
Because
I might set
was
that
a
antenna
thing.
up out there and do my ham radio
It was
hobby
fun.
again.
There was some meaning in it. You had a thing with it.
Yeah, it's like this stuff. To me, the way you're talking about is super interesting because it almost promises that you live forever if you own me.
Yeah, there you go. That's good.
Yeah, I think that's
very
interesting
good.
to think it's just this like illusion that we have that if I keep this forever, that means I live forever, right?
There's some things that you do that you just do.
Yeah.
And there's some things you do that are you. Mm-hmm. And trumpet, if people were an instrument, he is a trumpet. That's his instrument.
Can't tell if that's a compliment.
It is. It's just real.
It is.
Yeah. Well, see, the one thing about it is, and this has been both of our lives, is in Paul, in Philippians, he talks about joy. So there's only 4 chapters in Philippians. It's a short book, and it's a fun one to read when you know that the theme is joy and it's serving others. And so our joy has always been in serving others as professors in law enforcement, as therapists working with people, counselors. When she was the vice president of academic affairs at CCU, she still spent time with students, but she spent a lot of time with faculty. And most of those moments, from what I was privy to hear, it was a source of encouragement. What do we need to do? Here's where we are. This is at a standstill. How do we get around this, over it? How do we move forward and come out of this on the other side?
Yeah.
For the sense of that you can continue to serve students here.
That's so beautiful. There's a quote I just recently heard, and I love it. It's exactly what you're saying, which is, joy is the byproduct of compassion. So when you are compassionate to other people, it's just sort of like, there you go. You get this. But it's not the thing you can create necessarily out of the blue. It's sort of like, is there, and you receive it, or you're aware of it.
I don't know that you could make it happen.
Yeah.
Just like you can't make peace happen.
Would that be wonderful?
You have to figure out how
Let's all just try.
Yeah, if I just tried harder.
Yeah. What would you say, I mean, as we sort of kind of come to a full circle here, what would you say to somebody, and there are many of us out there who feel incredibly alone in that valley, so to speak, who are isolated, medically or emotionally, in a world that really is not helping.
Yeah.
Well, how would you, as counselors, as spiritual advisors, how would you counsel somebody like that to find a way through, and whether they have a spiritual background or not? What would you say?
Well, you had it.
I did?
Yeah, you had the
Did I have the answer? Oh, I didn't know that.
And they were out. They're isolated, and then you were. I think you were getting ready to say, or at least it was implied, they're out of relationship. So when you're isolated, I don't have these people here. Now, people like me, people like Cherri, more like me because I'm so gregarious that way, and she is mercy-wise that way. But it would be, well, I know that Joan is sitting in, and she's having a tough time. I got to go with Cherri to go talk to Joan. It's just a safety thing. And it's an honoring thing. I'm going to honor who you are, and I'm going to come in here, and I'm going to bring another person with me who, when we've established contact, do whatever it is that we're going to do. If you want further intimate help, here you are.
Yeah. So you're saying it's almost the responsibility of those whose cups are full to go.
We have to be initiators.
Because those who are lonely aren't going to do it necessarily.
Because this thing's overflowing.
Yeah.
The cup's it's full, it's overflowing. And in that overflow, I need to take it and pour into the other individual, however that is. I mean, I'm right now reading a book called Relentless Encourager.
Is that your middle name?
Yeah, and it's written by two guys, and a guy named Mark Halleck and another guy named Scott Eichen. Short book, but it's just like, man, this is what I should be doing. And I've always been an encourager. Like the other day I was talking to somebody, and they said, "Oh, you got this? That's so cool." And they said, "I did the same thing." And then I went, "Really? Tell me more about it." Yeah. So I got it off of me and got it into them, so that somebody's paying attention to me.
Yeah.
What I have to say is worthwhile. And when you got a hurting person isolated in a nursing facility or whatever it is, it don't happen that fast. I'm not that Pollyannish. Here comes Joy. Here comes Mr. Happy. They're wanting to go get out of here, Mr. Happy.
Yeah.
So you have to go in there sensitively. And I mean, it can take time. But the more that I prod, the more that I push, the more that I insert intentionally in a very caring, giving way, I get the opportunity to finally talk.
See, I think that in community Bible study, we're studying the Psalms this year. And our retreat, which we're going to have next week, is called Fill My Cup. And one of the things that we're asking all the women to do is to bring two things that bring them joy. What fills their cup? What fills their cup? And this, for me, the one thing I will bring is I just presented a book at our book club on changing small talk into big talk. How to get rid of small talk and ask the meaningful questions of life.
Oh my gosh, I love this.
But not in a way that, everyone's just like, I don't know where you are. But to bring a conversation around to bigger things. So I'll bring that book because that gave me tremendous joy and happiness to read a book, because in the book club, only one person reads the book. Not everybody reads the same book.
It's a very special rule.
It is. And one person reads the book and presents it. And so it was really special to me, and it gave me a lot of joy to bring a book like that to the table.
Yeah.
Anyway, that will be one of the things. But that fill my cup, I think with the isolation, you can somewhat have your cup filled in isolation, but not completely without relationship. I think you have to, and you have to, as the one in the valley, you have to also bring forward the valley. We won't know if you're walking around. We won't know.
If you need something.
We won't know. I mean, I can look at some people and say, something's not right there.
Yeah.
And if I am brave enough, or, I did this with one woman when we moved here, I say, something, tell me what's going on with you. You don't look okay, to find out really there was a lot not okay, and find a way to help her. But normally you can't really tell. So the person has to show it, and then be willing to let somebody walk that valley with them. Because again, sheep are in those valleys together. They're not loners, and we're not loners. One of the visuals in this shepherding book was that the shepherd has the rod and the staff, and their staff that they're holding often nudges the sheep. Like this, I'm here. So not only do you need somebody saying, I'm here, but you also need that spiritual connection of something deeper, that someone's with you regardless whether you can see them, hear them, touch them, or taste them.
Wow. Cherri, you just brought up this really powerful memory I have when I was teaching in an elementary school recently. I went and observed a primary school music teacher because I just needed, help. And I watched the primary music teacher, who had a lot of kids, you could tell, had some really big challenges. Just they walk in the classroom and you can feel it. She had them lie on the ground on their backs at the end of class and close their eyes, and she put music on. And I'd never seen anybody do this, but what she did was she walked the room and with her foot tapped the bottom of their shoes, when just all of them, and just like, I'm here. And it was like, it broke my heart open, because that's what I believe the sacred nature of a teacher, of a shepherd is to constantly say, we're together, and I've never seen that in an elementary school. And you brought that up for me. So
that's beautiful.
It is. It was really beautiful.
But you're not alone. I mean, truly, I think even infancy, I think that part of the infant experience is, am I alone? I can't do anything. Am I alone? Who's with me? I mean,
Even teenagers feel that way too.
Am I going to take care of? Is someone going to take care of me? So I think it's the touch, and to say, I'm with you. How can I be with you? And I think you have to guard yourself, because truly, most people cannot suffer with each other. They just cannot. So you have to guard yourself. I know lots of women who say, I shared my problem with a group of women, and they just had a solution, had a thing, had someone who had it, and it did not help. As a matter of fact, it hurt.
So how do you receive suffering when you're walking with somebody and not hurt them or take over?
They're all possibilities. You have to be really not yourself sometimes. You have to just not, I want to fix her, I want to give advice, or I want to say what has worked for me. And I think there's a time that you do that. I mean, I go to several doctors now that have really helped me. And I share that with other people. When they say, I've got this or that, I go, well, listen, like right now, I go to a doctor shortly that has really helped me. Well, I share her name and her phone number with people and say, if you find this useful. So you can do that. But I think the main thing is to just listen and pray and be there. They don't necessarily need your words. They just need you.
Yeah.
And that's that book. How can I turn this simple, mindless conversation into something meaningful? And to go back It is very hard to be intentional with people because I got it going on for me. I don't need your stuff.
Yeah.
I'm tired. I'm mad. I'm hungry. I'm angry. Whatever it is, I ain't got time to play with you. Mm-hmm. But it's not there by accident. Get out of you. Go be intentional. I mean, that teacher touching those kids' bottom of their feet, physiologically, there's something about that, the foot.
Yeah.
That's my plant.
Yeah.
And she's
Grounding.
touching it. Yeah. Anyway, I have to be intentional. And so I don't want to be intentional in getting your mess, but you have to.
Yeah. You have to be
So,
willing.
you have to be. And so you're kind of selective.
Yeah.
Whatever the mess is, I'm willing to walk through with that. But, I can't do you and you and you. I mean, I was doing therapy and no, this is too much for me.
Yeah.
I don't want all that in my head.
I know, I understand
But
more
I
than
was
you.
a therapist and now I'm not. And I'm very happy about it.
Well, you have to protect yourself on both ends.
Of course.
The person in the valley has to protect themselves to where they're not sharing something that then someone hurts them.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not going to give an example because I don't know. But as the person helping, you also have to protect yourself because, like, I can get overwhelmed. I have the spiritual gift of mercy, and so I take on and most of the time I have a huge capacity for it. Huge capacity. But I have heard some things and have experienced some things that have hurt me. Mm-hmm. And so you have to protect yourself on both ends.
Yeah.
But the person in the valley has to be the one that comes forward. You have to identify yourself to someone and find someone safe to walk with you, not alone.
It takes so much courage and vulnerability.
It does, but on the other hand, God will let you walk in the valley in the wilderness for 40 years if you don't figure out what's supposed to go on. You
And
have to
repeat the
do
same
something.
stupid thing over and over again.
Yeah.
You have to do something. You have to do the next thing. It's not just, why doesn't God lift me out of this? Well, why don't you do something that
Helps you do that.
gets it going?
Well, as perhaps a call to action as we wrap up here, how would you advise people to notice that their cup is full? Because I think a lot of us have overflowing cups in that way where we could see somebody and reach out and make those connections and not necessarily do all the heavy lifting for them, but walk with more people so that we remember we're not alone. How I think we all get in our heads and feel like life is already hard enough, already busy enough. How do you have the awareness that, wait a second, I actually could do X, Y, or Z, and it would be fulfilling? Yeah,
there's two cups there. There's the cup that's been given to us by God, and then there's the cup that we've given ourselves. Here's overload. This is the overload. This is the whatever.
Yeah.
And this thing is overflowing, and I don't have time to do this one because this is so packed. And I think you got to come to that realization, and for introverts, not so much the contrast between extroverts and introverts, because extroverts won't even, because they're about me, and I want to tell you about me. The introvert, I'm fine not letting you know, but you have to be intentional. And for some people, it's just hard doing that. I mean, I know a couple of guys that they need somebody to come alongside them. And hey, what's going on? You want to get together and do something? Nope. All right, well, fine. If you ever want to, let me know. And then the next time I see him, could be 6 weeks away. Say, hey, let's get together now. And so now he's genuine. He's authentic.
Yeah.
He's not playing me.
I think people use their gifts, like, for example, if you had room to take somebody else, if your cup was full of joy that you could take on somebody, you have the microphone. And you could say things like, that a response to a song or something like this was a meaningful song. If any of you, have this would touch you, I'd like to hear about it. And you could invite something just by a relatively benign thing. Jim has the Pastoral Institute with all these guys. He has essentially a mic. He could get some things that way. I have my women's ministry things. So I think that the cup that you have that has capacity for other people, you need to bring. People will not see that you have capacity. And
that's right.
And they will not. And they don't see. And I know that for a fact now with me. Sometime this summer, I'm going to have 2 hip replace. Ooh. And not at the same time.
Let's hope not.
Well, I wanted it at the same time because I know someone that had it and it was perfect, but I can't. Mine aren't that same thing. They have to be separate. Anyway, people see me and they say immediately they think I don't have any capacity for anything else because I can hardly walk. Mm-hmm. Well, that's just walking. Yeah. That's not my head. I have a big head.
Well, she has a great capacity for people because she loves people.
Yeah.
And that mercy drive.
Yeah.
I gotta go. I gotta do this.
Yeah.
Anyway, so it is not. It is. I think so. Your cup that's full that needs to extend to somebody, you have to do that, and then the cup that needs filled because it is overflowing with. My hips hurt all the time. Some you need to bring that. I mean, it really is. You have to create the action. Yeah. You can only hope that people see you, but truly, even in a small town like this, you can be in the middle of a whole crowd of people and no one sees you.
Yeah. So that's the
and
work.
Be lonely and I feel isolated. Even people have told me that at church they feel the most lonely.
Yeah. And that goes back to we're called to be in relationship. Our Creator created us to be in relationship, and we ignore it because our relationship's with me. It just that's our nature. That's our human nature. And biblically, they'll call that the sin nature.
And our culture has encouraged this narcissism in all of us. Mm-hmm. Stay on your phone, have 25,000 friends, nobody who you've ever seen. I'm just saying it has encouraged an isolation and an I world of it's all about me. I mean, Burger King started it in the 70s, have it your way. And I mean,
it's all Burger King's fault.
Well, I think they're the ones that started it.
Dang it, Burger King!
At least in my mind, that's the first time I remember hearing it. And
that's fascinating.
And now it is. You're retired. Do what you want to do. This is all about you. Be happy. And so I think this push to you, me, I. Is a cultural thing that you have to fight. You have to fight the cultural draw that it is all about you. Because if it's all about you, then that's all you've got. Yeah. And I don't know. That doesn't look like very much to me. Yeah. And I'm talking about me. Mm-hmm. This doesn't look like very much. So you have to resist that cultural call. And I think to be countercultural, again, is a Christian thing. I mean, that's that whole role model of how to be countercultural. Jesus was with the prostitutes, the drunks, the tax collectors, the poor, the women. And all of that was not online with any of the other religious leaders. So we have a good role model.
Yep.
Yep.
Well, I mean, it's, I guess the call to action is, we all know what we're good at, and we need to take that and use it for the good of other people. And, it might be Harry up in Nucla loves to go hunting. I want to go hunting. So, hey, Harry, can I go hunting with you next year? I want to get a big bull elk. Do you know how to know anything about it all? But I got the weapon to do it, and I know how to shoot, and you're going to show me. That's being aggressively asking to do something, but now Harry knows I'm interested. And
relating to him. Yeah, it sounds like you're saying two things at the same time, like a healthy awareness of who you are and your gifts. Like, so doing that work. And then an openness constantly to what might be in front of you, who needs them. And then the joy that comes from that exchange is the good stuff.
Yeah, and that joy is because it's implanted, it's an eternal kind of thing in that way.
Well, you guys, I cannot thank you enough for bringing your stories and your lives to the table, because I think there's a lot I have learned from you and continue to, and I'm so grateful you're still fighting, and I'm so grateful for your honesty about the way, when things are hard, to call them hard and not lie about that. And I think that's really important.
Yeah. It
Yeah.
is.
And I cannot thank you enough for sharing so much with me.
Very sweet. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate you a lot.
You're the best. You're the best.
Jim and Cherri have a very strong faith. When I ask them what joy is, they both reference the Christian writer Paul suffering in prison. And I find this super interesting. I think they're saying that joy is perhaps the kernel of life, the most crucial point of connection to love and to God when all seems lost. When I reflect on this interview, I sense that Jim and Cherri have actively chosen commitment at every single stage of their lives. Commitment to each other, clearly, to developing and sharing their gifts, to walking through the valley of the shadow of death together, even when the path seems totally upside down, and to fully living every single day of their lives. It's interesting to me that Cherri feels that their darker valleys have been mostly from external events. And to me, that's a sign, a telling sign, that Cherri and Jim are grounded in themselves and in each other, so much so that they do not allow deep pain and suffering to define them, as if there's a barrier between their suffering and their spiritual sovereignty. Today, they taught me to pay attention to what I can do well and to bring that offering into relationships, especially to those who need support. They taught me to notice the nudges of the shepherd's staff, that is, notice when someone reminds you that you're not alone, and remember to remind those around me that they are also not alone. I keep thinking about the sheep moving through the valley together as they are meant to be.